Hey everybody, thank you for tuning into the OTC Club. Today we have a special guest. You all know him as Stock Swing Alerts. If you don't already follow, please hit the follow button. Make sure you follow the OTC Club and the host. Hit the bell for show updates via the OTC Club. And just to let you know, this space is being recorded. So, Stock Swing Alerts. First things first, tell us a little bit about yourself. Something that we
Sure
may
thing.
not know.
Sure thing. Thank you very much for having me on tonight, too.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Cole. I'm in IT sales and currently live in Texas. I'm originally from Wisconsin, but I moved down to the Dallas area about 6 years ago just for a gig. Didn't really know anybody down here. And so spent a lot of time on the internet, day trading, just reading for the most part, and was blessed enough to meet the FinTwit community.
We are beautiful people here in Finswit. Shout out to us.
Agreed.
So, Stock Swing Alerts, tell us how you got started trading.
So my first trade was about like 4.5 years ago. It was when marijuana was getting legalized by Canada, as they were like the first G7 country to legalize marijuana. So I downloaded Robinhood, and my first buy was Canopy Growth Corporation. And so I bought in at like $17, and that week it was like the week that Tilray went from like $20 to over 100 something. So I ended up like doubling down on CDC at like 50, and then I think it got to like 60 or something, and then knifed. And so I had to learn the game pretty much, that it's important to take profits early on too, and never be too greedy. So that was like how I first started, and eventually switched over to a little bit more like blue chips and disruptors. And then just in the last couple of years too, I gotten into more of the penny stocks, just due to COVID. I'd noticed there was a lot of like beat down
Woohoo!
tickers that, yeah, like pennies, like over the counter in general, and just noticed that the upside potential, you can double, triple, or even quadruple your money in a month's time compared to playing the S&P 500 and making like 19% a year.
Yeah. So would you
That's
agree
right.
that it's a lot more fun?
Definitely, yeah. There's a lot more nuances to it. It's taken me a long time to even learn. A lot of money to a lot of trial and error and trying other people's plays.
Yes.
But gotten me to this point, so it's been going well, and I'm just trying to learn every day.
Amazing. How long
As
have
we
you been
all are.
trading?
I would say like 4.5 years. That was when I downloaded Robinhood. So right
Mm-hmm.
around there.
Oh, wow. So what else do you trade? Do you do cryptos and NFTs and stuff like that too, or is it mainly just stocks?
Mostly stocks, and then I do trade a little bit of Earth 2.io, like the tiles, and then like over the counter stocks. Relatively new to that. Spock was able to get me introduced to that about 6 months ago.
Mm.
Other than that, NFTs, there is an interest there, but I don't know. I feel like it's difficult. So I stick to more things like coins, or football cards too.
Okay. How about like Top Shops? There's Top Shot? Top Shop.
Top Shot,
What is that?
not
I
Top
don't even
Shot.
know. Top
Okay,
Shop?
because it's like
Oh,
Basketball
NFL.
basketball.
NFTs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
basketball NFTs.
I saw Chris Rendon was on that
I think it's
early,
just
but I didn't.
sports.
Yeah, I didn't get into it too much. I think it'll be a cool idea in a couple of years, but it's a little early right now.
Can you just go back a little bit on the Earth 2.0, like what investing in that is, because
Yeah.
that is so it's
Mm-hmm.
fascinating to me because I can't grasp it. Like where you're
Isn't
investing on like
mm-hmm.
on for land, but it's like on Earth, but it's in the metaverse. Like can you
Yeah, it's
just
metaverse, right?
explain it
Yeah.
to us like we're
Mm-hmm.
five?
Okay. So think of Google Maps. For the metaverse, you would be able to like buy a tile, and so you get like a 10 kilometer tile, and then part of the reason why I really like them is because they have Unity as a software developer, so it's like one of the best like 3D renders around. And then one of the Oculus co-founders is on their board of advisors. So like Reddit has called themselves, like called it a scam for a while because people couldn't take money out after they initially started trading. But this was kind of in its infancy, so it would make sense that you couldn't just trade it and then take out your money, because it would collapse the whole system.
Mm-hmm.
But I think overall, like it has a really big chance to be something huge. But I wouldn't put life
Mm-hmm.
savings in it. Just put a couple $100 in. buy some beach tiles and just wait for us to get uploaded to the cloud.
Wow. So do you think Earth 2.0 would potentially be like investing in land in real life eventually?
Yeah, I think so too. Because even like in the 1990s, like Bill Gates, he had bought all the digital rights to art, and then even like late 90s, people bought moon acres back in the day too. So like, there's all these things that like if you get in early, like it has a chance. I've actually already like 10x my original investment because I got in when it was crashing, so it's already up pretty good. But I've held on to a few like just unique things like big techs. I own that and like the Cotton Bowl and Brett Favre's house and a few other ones too. I know Yates, he bought all like the NFL stadiums really early on because that's
Whoa.
something
I
that you
heard
could,
that
yeah,
too. And I'm so
yeah,
confused. I'm like, okay, but how do you make money? Because, like, in real life, right? Like, you don't own the NFL stadiums.
So
exactly,
if I
yeah.
wanted to
It's
own my house on there, I can own my house on there.
it's more so they own like the virtual reality patents, which so when you think like um virtual reality like advertising in general, once we have like HoloLens or VR glasses, you know, or a chip implanted in our head, like they'll make a
Oh
lot of money
shit.
on the back end.
Whoa,
That was
whoa,
very funny.
whoa, whoa.
In truth, the reality of it is it's patience and seeing the long term goal. I've owned
Yep.
Bills tickets for 12 years. They're dirt cheap. It cost me and three other guys. There was four others that bowed out. We pay 400 American a seat for four of them, and now because now they're good, we can sell them each a day for 200. It's like it's
Oh
Can,
my
is
crazy.
it on
god.
Earth
Exactly.
2.0?
Oh shoot,
Can you
that's
can you
freaking
can we get
funny.
those tickets on Earth 2.0?
Maybe, yeah, probably
Can
one day
That's
I
the
soon.
buy
future.
Doll's house on Earth 2.0 even though she owns it?
I would definitely do that. Yeah.
All right, so let's switch back to stocks. Everyone's probably like, "Oh my god, get over it." Okay, so
Yeah.
so
Sorry.
No,
so
it's
let's go
fine.
back. Let's go back. So you got into so how long have you been in OTCs just during the pandemic or
Yeah, just because we had gotten, I know Dan had gotten his feet wet. So that's Spock. Sorry, Spock, for saying your name.
What's up,
Uh,
Spock?
yeah. So Spock had came to me too because there was like King Crown's group, and so like I think one of the first plays was like LTNC. He spelled the ticker wrong to me.
Mhm.
LTNC.
Yeah, he spelled
Mhm.
like it was like LNTNC, and so it was like
Oh
$100 some.
man.
So I didn't buy it, and then like
Mhm.
3 days later, it's up like 300%, and he's just like, dude, like I'm like I'm going multi or something, and basically yeah, for 3 days he kept talking about it, but I had already thought it was gone and it ran huge, but it ended up running like 1,300% that week, and Stan the trading man really blew it up, and so then that was at that point I realized like how much money can be made in such a short amount of time. So I
Absolutely.
wanted to get my feet wet.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
that is amazing. So now that we talk about the trade that you missed, the LTNC,
Yeah.
tell us what your most successful trade was. It could be
Uh,
OTC, Big Board, whatever.
one of them was Givo. I would say that was one that I had done a lot of really big research into ahead of time, and it was really a big bet on the fact that Donald Trump would lose, just and then they would have this huge push for renewable energy.
Hmm.
So I had done a lot of research and seen how much carbon emissions were because of flights back and forth. And so as a result of that, there was this huge push for sustainable aviation fuel. And so a lot
Mm.
of that had to do with government subsidies. And Jibo was interesting because it had like a $200 million market cap at the time. But they had like $400 million of intellectual property. And so it was just one that I had done a lot of homework on and kind of had seen ahead of time. So that had allowed me to have a pretty big play on it. I've had a few others that I didn't unfortunately take as much profit on as I should have, like Nikola. I was in on that one at 10, but only sold like half at like $60, and
Hmm.
because it was always like a 2 to 5 year plan. A lot of the times when I would get into these plays, as Matt alluded to, I try to take on a long term perspective, and
Hmm.
just get in early and then let it compound over time.
All
So,
right.
so would
So
you
which
consider
one?
yourself a more of a position trader?
So I initially was a long-term investor, but I've realized like
Hmm.
trading, and utilizing opportunity, time value, money, especially when you have this bull market where everything's running, it's important to take advantage of it and stay as cash heavy as possible.
Yep.
Love it.
Okay, so that was your most successful trade. What was the ticker of that one?
That was
Givo.
Givo. Doge was a
GEVO,
close
right?
second though. Doge, because I had a lot of
Oh,
conviction in
there you
Doge.
go.
Doge.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh-oh. Shout out to Doge.
What was your entry?
Doge, I bought it at I bought it when he did the Doge Vogue magazine. I bought it then. I bought the top and was pumping it for a while. So I held the bag for a while.
And
But
then.
yeah, luckily it took off because he hyped it up for 4 months straight.
All right, so what was the biggest mistake you think when you were trading?
I think sometimes you just can't be greedy, too, at the same time. Like, there's always times where you make a ton of money, but if you don't necessarily take profits, you won't realize those gains, and you can see it all wither away. And so I think that's the most important thing. Is it's almost like an asset that you need to in order to collect more. So try to realize that and preserve as much cash as possible when it is slow, and then when it is hot, make sure you dial it up and take like big swings. A large position in a single play and hold it with conviction because it can turn your whole entire portfolio around.
Cool.
Amazing.
Now, what was the worst trade you've ever had?
My worst trade?
You could tell us. We won't tell anybody.
IBO, that one's pretty far up there because I had such big conviction in it. Like I had actually seen the pandemic coming, and I had heard stories from China and seen the horror videos that were coming out in January. And
We
I knew
all
that
saw them.
IBO, yeah, and so I knew IBO was the big money play, and so I ended up buying it at 28 cents, and I sold it at 77, and so it was 300%. I made really good money on it, but the next week it ran to $7, and so if I would have held it, yeah, I missed out on probably $300,000 of profit if I just would have stuck to my gut and I'd even told my other friends, I was like, this is the second inning because it's a pandemic and nobody knows when it'll be over. And other people held, but I, for some reason, thought I needed to get the money and make another trade. So,
I mean, just look at it like this, though. You made money. That's all that matters.
yeah.
You didn't lose. You made the money. It is what it is. So
Yeah.
it really was a good trade.
Learning curve, too.
Definitely, especially getting into pennies, too, because even CEI, just the importance of holding some of these ones that really are huge disruptors or changing the way we do things. I think getting in early and holding is really important.
Did you say CEI?
Yep. Yeah, that's one that I took a little bit of. I took too much profit off the table. I didn't realize it would go all the way. Because I thought $2 was the price target all along, but there's quite a bit more there. I think too. At the end of the day.
What's your PT? You think it's gonna go to $5 and you're gonna go to the Miami party with Zach?
But there's discrepancies on the float itself. I had seen 25 million at 50 cents, so there's a chance that somebody bought $12.5 million, worth of it, and now it's just shorts exchanging hands. So it's whenever somebody wants to let their foot off the gas pedal too, like GameStop or AMC.
That's true.
Stock swing, and no mean to interrupt. You nailed a great point, and which with your audience you have right now, what you've done, you need to forget missed trades. Like when you miss selling at the top or selling too early, just know you have profits. And it's a hard thing in the OTC. The hardest thing to do is sell. But then when you sell and then it runs more, you regret and then you buy back. OTC is crazy like that, and you nailed it. You have to just keep your composure, pick your goals, and have a plan. Because if you impulse sell and then you impulse buy, you just lost money. Whatever you're right.
Yeah.
Are you attacking
Don't
me?
get bagged.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Don't get bagged like Christine.
Targeting.
So, stock swings. Tell us about your trading strategy. You had all these good trades. Your worst trade was actually a good trade. So just tell us about your trading strategy.
So I try to take macro events, things I'm seeing, at least around Twitter, and then just tie it into a certain stock or a sector. Because 70 to 80% of the market is algorithms, and so if you can pay attention to the news, you can kind of stay ahead of the curve. And I do try to do a lot of reading, Seeking Alpha, Fintel, just to see where the money is going. Wall Street Journal and a few others, just to at least like stay ahead of what everyone else is seeing. You need to almost pay a little bit more to in order to understand that information and kind of see it before the rest of the crowd.
Mm-hmm. So I haven't heard the Wall Street Journal thing in a while. A lot of people, veered away from that, but fancy Wall Street Journal. Great.
I was getting it for free for a while for work, so that was the only reason why.
Do you
Sit there
use
with your newspaper.
indicators? Do you use
What's
like
that?
any indicators at all?
So indicators, I typically use like RSID or RSI, MACD. The one that is really important, I think, in over the counter is like accumulation distribution, as you can kind of see. Maybe they'll hold like a wall up and then they'll continue to load under it. But otherwise, one of the best scanners that I typically use is just looking for Golden Cross. So I pay for stock charts. They have a free screener. And so then I'll just sift through all of the ones that just formed a Golden Cross and try to figure out like which one is going to continue to make like a bullish uptrend, and just try to play a sector that's hot.
So what time frames do you play?
So I'll look at 1, 5, 10
Okay.
for at least like entries too. 9-day average. That's what I typically would use for like an entry. And then like Bollinger Bands as well. That's pretty easy to see. Like when it dips below that, you can just buy the red underneath it.
Beautiful, beautiful, darling. That sounds good to me.
And then now Doll wants to know her favorite question.
My favorite question. How do you prep for the market, pre-market? Any music? What kind of music do you listen to?
I'll typically start out with like Bob Marley. That's like my go-to every morning.
Gosh, you are wonderful. You get a gold star from me from Bob Marley.
I typically listen. Yeah, every day, every morning I listen to that one actually.
Oh, go ahead, sing it, Stock.
I can't. I have a radio face.
What else? Do you like make espresso, coffee? Like, what do you do? Do you work out?
I have an espresso, and then I have like an espresso machine, so I'll make a pumpkin spice latte like every day. Actually,
what?
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
Yeah, my girlfriend and my dog both get one too because they're divas.
Oh, so we know what to send you after this show. Hey, if you want to gift Stock something, go ahead and send them some pumpkin spice latte.
There you go. Yeah.
Doc, so what advice do you have for any of the new traders? Yeah.
New traders, I would say try to learn the candle patterns. I think that's one of the most important things. Like bullish hammer, or like a doji candle. Like just try to understand what the candles are. So when you are taking entries, you can understand like what they are and what to look for. And then the other thing is volume. That's one of the biggest indicators. That's how I've been able to stay kind of ahead of some of these SPOCs early on. When you see a stock that usually trades like 100,000 shares a day, and it's done that in the first hour and a half or 10x that, there's a good chance that the algorithms will pick it up during power hour. So as long as it holds like the trend line or bounces off VWAP, you can almost come back at like 130 and ensure that you're going to get at least some sort of pop off it on the back end. I would say APPH. It's like App Harvest. It's an interesting one because it's a certified B company, so that means it's not for profit. But they recycle water, and so it was a SPOC that originally went from $10 to $33, and then their earnings was like absolute dog shit. They were supposed to be like 17 to 18 million, and they ended up doing like 3 to 5. But long story short, they take like recycled water, gray water, and they use that for farming. And so I've been paying attention to a lot of these like droughts. It's like global warming. Due to global warming, you need to water more crops, and so like they're draining the aquifers. And so because they're draining the aquifers, the hydroponics, the hydro.
You know a little bit too much about this. It's past 30 seconds.
Yeah, I make sure I learn a lot about it.
Okay, stop.
Yeah. You work for the company.
That one. Just set it and forget it. It'll be easily a doubler.
Sir,
okay,
you
give us that
memorized
ticker
the DB.
one more time.
Beautiful.
Give us the ticker one more time.
APPH. It's like it's just interesting because the whole entire float is locked. Like
Beautiful.
I was doing a math on it. And it's like 108% locked. So the toots in it, like the institutions, they're selling whenever it goes up, which is kind of interesting.
Okay.
I like that you know this DD so well. I love it.
You can ask Spock. I try to learn it like the back of my hand. If I'm trying to, I have to sell it to people. So
Spec Trader, listen, you got to shout out like 30 times in this thing.
All right, you guys, do you have any questions from the panel before we go to the audience? And the audience, if you guys want to request now, we could go ahead
Go
and
ahead
bring
and
it up
request
right
that.
after.
Yeah, start requesting up now, you guys, so we can get you up here once we're finished. Hey, West Coast Closer, what you got?
I got it. Stock swing. So again, and I'm just real about it. Another fanboy moment. He reached out, and all I saw was 70,000 followers. I was like, oh my god. And SPAC Trader and him trade big boards. He came here, and we connected a bit. And I look forward to learning options from you. My question is, and also first off, you're so humble, modest, well spoken. Good for you. Um, what is your so coming from big boards? What is it that you see in the OTC like the biggest change? Because I do plan to go to big boards, options, and certain day trades. But what is it you see the difference?
Um, so I think the filings is really important. I think they're trying to clean up a lot of the over-the-counter space because a lot of these companies that are on the big boards today aren't profitable for the next 2 to 5 years. So a lot of them are going to get kicked off like NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange, and so they're going to be traded. So I would say that that's the biggest thing is just cleaning up all the crap that's on there too because back in the day, like I had heard it was the wild, wild west, and a lot of times you get scammed by companies. But I think if you clean that up, you bring in the SEC, you ensure that these companies are doing everything they can to protect their shareholders, and then eventually allowing people to trade it because TD Ameritrade, Fidelity are good, but if we got Webull or Robinhood, the ability to trade over the counter, I think that that'll really change the game going forward.
I can't wait.
Yeah, me either.
Thanks, Doc.
So
All
that's kind of
right.
my interest. Do you think the volume is going to be way higher than it's ever been now that it's a little bit more trust in the OTC?
Yeah. So because I follow both big boards and over the counter, I tell Spock like usually at like 9:30 if I need to get like into some over the counter place because the algorithms like sale trade in Matt Spock like they'll be all over my news feed like when over the counter is cooking, but otherwise usually for the most part like big boards take over at least during the day. So
That's awesome. So I'm on Earth 2.0, like trying to buy up all of Africa right now,
I want
and
Oh,
to.
sick dude.
trying to
can
become
I get
the
some?
metaverse Black
Can
Panther right
I
now.
get some?
He said, "Save you some." Yo, this thing is so cool, man.
It is.
You trying to be the metaverse Black Panther? I'm over it. We're the vibranium.
Yo, we might get that. We don't know, man. Make some vibranium tokens or some start selling it. But no, this thing is awesome.
Oh,
But for me, stock dude, uh, you're a big visionary person. That's how I see you. I kind of want to understand like how do you kind of decide what industry is going to be like the next big thing when you're searching. And I know you kind of go based off of volume and what people are hungry for. Um, but do you sometimes like kind of just based off of your due diligence are able to anticipate? I know you call it the COVID thing. What is going to be next, the next big thing, and where do you get those resources from?
So a lot of it comes down to like what I'm seeing on Forbes or even FX Hedge. And then what I'll do is I'll chart the underlying like ETFs. Like so I'll chart YOLO in order to see like when Tilray bottom was last week. And so you can kind of pay attention to those ETFs that have the underlying holdings. And then they tend to repeat too. Just from my notes, I knew that like it was like infrastructure, EV gets hot around the same time, and then weed will go. So just like taking copious notes, ensuring that like I'm learning from what I've seen in the past, because a lot of these stocks have personalities. I know Zach Morris is famous for saying that, but that is true. And so if you can understand like when that personality is going to take off, All you have to do is get in early, average down, and wait for the crowd.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you.
But
I have a question. So, for people so I've been trying to figure out Earth 2.0 for a long time. I'm just so interested in Earth 2.0.
make sure you buy a little
How
bit. Yeah, just like hang on to it
I
for
don't even know how
a
to
while.
get into Earth 2.0. Like, am I buying Google Maps? I don't know. What am I? How do I
What?
download this thing? Like, I'll go to Google Earth and be like, yeah, this is it right here.
It's like Earth 2.io,
Well,
and
well, I
then
Yeah.
have fresh water going for 1,600 right now.
There you
So
go.
Wow,
let's
you're
go.
selling fresh water. Fresh water. Great.
some limestone. I think it's like $6.
Can you buy air?
The resources, I think they're selling those
Metaverse air.
eventually. Yeah.
I will buy all the air.
Well, now we know
Exactly.
we could just ask Rue because he's buying. He
He's
has
buying.
Africa on lock.
If you guys need some
Okay.
gold, I got you.
Oh, all right. All right. If you want some land in Africa, Rue is the guy. But yeah, I don't even know how to get there. Is it like a some kind of app or what is it?
Oh, you
It's
I
on the
would
Earth
website?
just follow
2.io.
their Twitter page, and then
Yes,
it has a
it's
lot of it there too, and they'll keep you updated.
Yeah,
Can
Earth
someone
a web
can
2.io.
app.
someone send me a message with their
I'll
Twitter
send it.
page?
Don't
Yeah,
buy
Rue
Okay.
will
it.
send it.
It's taken.
I'm sorry. Christine, do you have any questions before we
No,
take
I'm
it to the
good.
audience? All
Yeah.
right. How about you inbox him? Is your messages open, or send him a message on his page and see if he can help you out with that?
Okay. I'll
All
do
Yeah,
that.
we
right.
also record these as well. It'll be
Mm-hmm.
posted on the YouTube channel.
Okay.
I was gonna
Thank
say,
Stock
yeah,
you.
I don't know
Swing
if it
Alert.
transcribes or not.
Yeah, I don't know if it does, but Stock Swing Alert, that brings me to a question for her and like people that want to know. Like, do you have mentorships or classes at all?
Yeah, I did. I just opened up a Patreon in order to just do like more like open-ended questions too, just because my girlfriend was kind of getting mad, and it does take away a lot of my time too. So I just decided to do it, at least to like create an LLC. You need to have some sort of revenue coming in. So I just did it, and I still answer questions like in the private questionnaires, and then like the public Discord that Tigress shared. If you have questions there, feel free to ask, and I'll get back to them whenever I can.
Okay. And then how does someone find your mentorship?
I know I tweeted it like on Friday. I'm trying to create a website and have everything in there too, because I have like the Benzinga and then Unusual Whale. I just did a partnership with them, and so I have quite a bit that I can at least just provide. And then if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out or DM me directly.
Oh, you
Okay, so I
fancy.
went ahead and pinned it up on top of the chat, what you were
Thank you.
talking about. So it's up on the chat, guys, if you guys are interested.
It is a grind too. Like never stop learning. That's one thing that I would say too, is I will constantly trade ideas with other traders like Alex Trades, Spock, West Coast, Rich Trades. There's a number of people to learn from. Every single person that I follow, I would recommend at least having them on your radar too, because they offer ideas, insights, motivational sayings. And so take those and then just try to understand what works best for you, so that you can ultimately, in the heat of the moment, like you can just see something and you don't have to think about it. You can just react, because that's ultimately like what you're trying to do, is you're trying to remain emotionless, and be a machine and just play the board in front of you.
Stock,
Do you
Shout
have
out to
books that
Rich
you
Trade.
recommend?
He's in the audience. Rich Trades. Shout out to him. He just got mentioned.
stock.
He's the man.
I got to comment on that.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just said there, leave emotions out. Like I posted before, ice in your veins. But at the same time, the
Mm-hmm.
best part of that is, guys, Twitter, OTC, use other people. Never think that you can do it alone. Like
Mm-hmm.
in this, the best part about this career is that if one wins, we all win. Like we're all working together for the same goal. It's not one versus the other. It's like a huge team, and not just to run shitty plays. It's a unity, and as much as you want to talk about it, so amazing, you nailed it, Stock. And the guy's humble as hell. Love it. I haven't talked to you personally. We chat a lot on DM, but just love to hear people's voice. And thank you, Christine and Doll, for for putting this together. This OTC club's amazing to actually get connect with
Yes,
people.
thank you.
Appreciate you
You're the
guys.
best, West Coast.
Yeah. And
Stop
Tribe
swinging.
Lion, do you have any questions? Hey.
Hey, everybody. I appreciate you taking the time here to do this and share your knowledge, everybody. Stock Swing Alert. My question is spotting like a company that is a scam, like spotting a CEO that is looking to drop off after the stock might spike a little bit. What's the best way to see it? Because some of these, they kind of look like they're a good play and end up being a scam. What's your view on that?
Is that specific to over the counter or?
Yeah, just over the counter specifically.
I would say like LTNC. That was one that I think they had good intentions, and so you really have to see like what is their background. I would recommend like looking at like LinkedIn and seeing what their history is. There's a few out there that some have called that they weren't necessarily the best company, but in the over-the-counter space, you don't want to bash other people's plays. So some people won't comment on them too much, but ultimately you have to do your own homework. Never put in too much more than you're willing to lose, and understand the ramifications if it does go sideways.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Awesome. And now we have Chris.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Chris.
Hey, how's it going? I am in the oil and gas industry, and I recently heard about CEI and the carbon capture company I work for is getting into that space pretty heavily. I was just wondering what your thoughts are on the carbon capture industry and whether there's other companies or other tickers out there like CEI that people should be paying attention to.
Yeah, so CEI, the Vikings Holdings company that they had initially done that partnership, that was why I was drawn to that too, just because they've had a huge history of spikes. So that was initially what kind of drew me in, especially at that risk reward point of under 40 cents. But I do think that it's going to be a huge push, especially with the infrastructure bill. So I've been trying to find as many other ones in the industry that are at least government subsidy based. So like ENG was one. Jibo has quite a bit of the carbon capture play. Like they want to do like a blockchain coin eventually, and do credits back to companies. And then a few that other traders have mentioned, like Beat Trades mentioned OPTT. Alex Trades mentioned Babcock Wilson, I think, or something. It's BW. I guess they have 90 patents in this field. It's actually on their website, and they've been around since the 1800s. So, in terms of an oil company that's able to reposition and use some of their old money, I would try to find the ones that have really good leadership, have promised not to do reverse splits, and then aren't diluting too much. That was part of the issue for SNMP. They've been diluting the last like week and a half, so we luckily got ads under 90, but that was one that was just been a sinking rock. But long term, I really like that one as well.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you so much, Chris.
And Stock, I wanted to know if you have any books that you recommend.
Yeah. Like The Millionaire Next Door is really good. And then I read two of the ones that like PJ Metcalf had shared in Atlas Discord too. But other than that, just trying to understand like the candle pattern. So like reading Candlesticks for Dummies, I think is one of the most important things, especially if you're newer to trading. Just try to get the basics down first.
Cool.
Right, awesome.
Hey, thank you.
Another for dummies.
Another for dummies. Yeah, we have we need a collection. Stock trading for dummies. OTCs for dummies.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. Someone needs to make that.
They got
They
penny
have
stocks
the
for
penny
dummies.
stocks for dummies.
Mm-hmm.
Pink
All
sheets for
right.
dummies would be sick.
I think we're good. We went ahead and answered all the questions, and you did amazingly, and we got you out on time.
So, all right, everybody, thank you again for coming and joining the OTC Club. Please follow our hosts, the guests, and the panel. Follow the OTC Club and hit that bell for show updates. Hey, follow directions and follow
Thanks, Stock Swing.
Bye.
Have a good
We
trading
will see you
week.
Wednesday.
Everyone have a good night.
Thank you all.
Hey,
Okay,
buckle
good
up tomorrow. Big day.
2.0, y'all.
Love you.
Study tonight.
OTC.
Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.